Every day, hundreds of thousands of patrolmen report for duty, armed with a badge and the latest in video technology. You are about to witness their never-before-seen footage, their stories caught on tape. On this episode of Disorderly Conduct, a fleeing suspect gets that rundown feeling. An officer gets her weapon stolen. A suspected kidnapper goes on a rampage. For some reason, this guy thinks he can stop a pursuit with a power drill. And heaven only knows why this pair decided to steal from a church. From runovers to rollovers to just plain over the top.
Why do I get these?
Disorderly Conduct is ready to roll. Gahanna, Ohio. Police Sergeant Sheila Murphy pulls over a man suspected of driving with a suspended license. It's not the first time they've met.
I haven't met you here before.
I'd like to see your driver's license, please.
A couple of months earlier, the suspect escaped from Sergeant Murphy's custody in a similar situation.
How about the registration and the insurance?
He later turned himself in, but she wants no replay of that night and calls for backup.
AD, I will need you. What do you have illegal on you, sir?
Ma'am,
Sir, I asked you a question. Knives, weapons, narcotics. Because we're not having a repeat of last time, you understand me?
She's right. It won't be a repeat of last time. It's going to be worse.
Sir, I asked you a question. Answer it directly.
I'm not answering.
Get out of the car.
I'm not getting out of the car.
Sir, you're under arrest because... Sir! Get your hand off there now. Get your hand off now. I'm going to shoot you with this taser. Do you understand?
What?
Get out of the car, sir. Get out of the car. Do it now. Get out of the car. You're under arrest.
I'm not driving under
Sir,
suspicion.
get out of the car. I'm going to shoot you with this taser. Do you understand me? Get out of the car. Now!
A bystander offers help.
Step back. Step back. Step back. Step back. Get out of the car.
Driving
Get
under
out.
suspension.
Off camera, the tables are turned as the suspect gets control of the taser and uses it on the sergeant twice. Backup arrives. A squad car picks up the scuffle from a dashboard camera as cops and the bystander struggle with the suspect. The officers can't get a handle on the suspect or a clear shot with a second taser, but look who steps in. Remember this guy?
Step back, step back, step back!
He's not stepping back. He's stepping up, big time, wrestling the suspect and pinning him against the car. And what does he get for his trouble? More cops arriving on the scene mistake him for a suspect. But now it's clear whose side he's on. And with the suspect firmly in the hands of the law, the man does as he's told. He steps back and watches from a distance as Sergeant Murphy recovers from the two taser shocks. She fully recuperates after this wild scuffle. The suspect is booked for assaulting an officer, resisting arrest, and driving with a suspended license. And the local hero? He hangs around to help clean up.
Sir, appreciate your help.
The man behind the wheel of an SUV terrorizes drivers on this Florida turnpike. Police say he attacked his roommate with a hammer after an argument over money. When officers arrived, they saw the suspect take off in his roommate's car. And now the chase is on. He hits speeds close to 100 miles an hour as he races toward the Florida Keys from the Miami area. He flies through toll plazas without stopping to pay. And at one point, he crashes into a guardrail. Then he backs up. It looks like cops have him surrounded. But he gets away. The Chevy heads back towards Key Largo at breakneck speeds on the two-lane highway. He straddles the center line as other drivers try to stay out of his perilous path. But it isn't long before fear is mixed with anger. Someone actually tosses a rock at the guy, shattering the driver's side window. Moments later, the Chevy careens across the median and takes out a road sign. Soon, the front tires are shot, thanks to some spike strips laid down by police. Now he's riding on rims, and his racing days are about to end. The driver bails out, but the car's still moving. When the driver gets out, he tosses his cell phone, and then the SUV rolls over his leg. Police quickly move in and make the collar. The man's leg that was run over is bloodied, but not broken. However, that's the only good news he gets today. He faces charges in 2 counties, from aggravated battery to grand theft auto to illegal flight. Lehi, Utah. A woman in a convenience store claims the driver of this white Jeep's kidnapped her. The cashier calls 911. Police are on the scene in minutes. They block the suspect with their cars. As it turns out, a wise decision. Another patrol car camera captures a dramatic second angle as the Jeep rams the cars. Cops pull their guns, but one officer barely escapes with his life. The suspect causes a lot of damage, but there's no escape. When cops try to grab the keys, the driver climbs into the back seat. But they get him and find he's wanted for violating state parole. Then they discover a sawed-off shotgun in the center console, along with marijuana and methamphetamine. Officers describe the suspect as visibly distraught. They say he kept yelling at them to shoot him, that he wanted to die. A couple of officers are slightly injured as the suspect tries his dangerous getaway. But now they arrest a dangerous felon charged with kidnapping, assault on officers, and possession of drugs. Next on Disorderly Conduct. Hot lead from an AK-47 flies through the air. And a beer thief grabs a case of cold ones to go. Things are just warming up on Disorderly Conduct. This 23-year-old suspect's on the run after allegedly opening fire on his relatives in Columbus, Ohio. He's behind the wheel, armed with an AK-47 semi-automatic weapon. As an officer tosses a spike strip, the gunman opens fire. Eyewitnesses report that the suspect steers with one hand and clutches his deadly weapon with the other. He barrels down the wrong side of the road. He keeps on firing, and bullets can be seen slamming into a parked car and striking the pavement. Officers swerve to avoid being hit by the rounds. Suddenly, he stops and opens fire again. Officers scramble for cover and shoot back. The chase is back on. Now he crashes, but opens fire yet again. An officer collapses when a bullet grazes his head. Finally, cops manage to shoot the suspect and bring an end to this rampage. The suspect is seriously injured and faces at least 3 charges of felonious assault, including assault on a police officer. A total of 5 people are injured in this violent spree, and property and cars are damaged. But with all this happening on residential streets, it's a miracle no one was killed. A robber and clerk fight over a case of beer in Laredo, Texas. When the clerk refuses to let him escape, the thief pulls out a large knife. The suspect picks up the beer again and heads out the door. The bad guy is caught soon after when these pictures air on local TV. He's booked on felony aggravated robbery. And now he'll be paying for that beer for a long, long time. In Tampa Bay, Florida, Officer Dale Fricks closes in on 2 men suspected of burglary. Another cruiser joins the pursuit. The driver pulls onto a main road and attempts to lose the officers by weaving in and out of traffic. They go over the median and into oncoming traffic. Not once, but twice. Somehow, Officer Fricks is able to keep pace and not let their dangerous driving shake him from his main goal, which is bringing these men to justice. In a desperate maneuver, the driver makes a hard right turn. He loses control and smashes into a palm tree. The car may be crushed, but not the suspects. They bail and make a run for it. But Officer Fricks is right behind them. The foot chase doesn't last long, as Officer Fricks tases one of the suspects, and the other is found hiding in a nearby house. Now they're not only facing charges of burglary, but also criminal mischief and obstruction of a police officer. They'll also be in need of a new car. When disorderly conduct returns, officers take a burglary suspect for a spin. And a man claims to have a bomb and threatens to blow himself up. Hold the phone. Disorderly conduct will be right back. It's a high-speed pursuit in Port Wentworth, Georgia. The driver is suspected of stealing cash and beer from a convenience store. And now we're about to see how they stop the suspect from right in the middle of the action. First, the decision is made to pull off a pit by one of the officers in the front of the chase. It's commonly referred to as the pit maneuver, but its full name is the precision immobilization technique.
10-4, we're just north of the exit, standing by for you. Whenever we get on him, if you'll back off a little bit, we'll try to pit him.
As he waits for the suspect to drive by, the officer clarifies what he's dealing with.
What's your vehicle description?
Then a sergeant reconfirms the plan. As the suspect quickly approaches, the officer asks a fellow cop if he wants to do the job, but he declines.
You want to turn and jack?
Now it's time to take action.
All right, y'all, here we go. We got him stopped.
After the pit, officers surround the car with their guns drawn. This dramatic view from another dash cam captures the suspect's surrender. The man is booked for armed robbery, fleeing to elude, and driving under the influence. Perfect coordination. Perfect timing. A perfect pit. It all adds up to one more pursuit coming to a perfect end. Police surround a desperate man who reportedly made a threatening 911 call on a payphone in Azusa, California. He warns them that he's got a bomb strapped to his back and a gun at his side. Even worse, he doesn't care whether he lives or dies. This could be a fatally dangerous game, so the cops clear the building behind him.
The owner wants to stay, but I told him to go ahead and go. Tell him he's being ordered out. Tell him it's a police crisis, and he's being told, ordered. Everyone is to exit this back door and contact the officers now. There is no choice. This is a crime scene. Okay, they're leaving now, and I'm covering them, and they're clear now.
The coast is clear, the place is surrounded, and off camera, police prepare to strike. But things aren't what they seem.
Okay, he lifted up his right side of his jacket. There's nothing visible on the right side of his waistband where a holster would be breaking. His left hand is empty. There's nothing on top of the phone.
No weapon.
Police begin to realize that there is no bomb. This man isn't armed and is now a danger only to himself.
What was that? I see the left hand, right hand is holding the phone.
Slightly reassured, officers strike the seemingly suicidal suspect with a non-lethal blow. A rubber bullet hits him square in the gut, and he stumbles back. Then he responds, only pretending to hold a gun. The officers remind him once more that their guns aren't make-believe, just grazing his right leg. He's had enough and drops the phone. The police roll forward to secure the suspect.
Officers making contact.
Turns out, the man didn't take his meds and flipped out, hoping the police would put him out of his misery. Luckily, the police get their man without having to use deadly force. A suspected bank robber is on the run in Santa Rosa County, Florida. Deputies are convinced the woman inside that Chevy Blazer just knocked off a local bank. When cops tried to pull her over, she hit the gas pedal, and now the chase is on. The woman reportedly passed the bank teller a note in which she threatened to shoot her if the teller did not give her $3,000. She also fits the description of someone who has robbed several other banks in the area. At one point, she seems to be turning, but then abruptly changes her mind. As speeds hit a deadly 95 miles an hour, most drivers are smart enough to stay out of her way. And when officers appear to lose sight of her, a helpful citizen points the way. Officers soon catch up and try to talk her into surrendering.
Walk beside the road. We can end this peacefully.
Obviously, this lady is in no mood for polite conversation, and the chase continues. Next, she jumps on the interstate. It seems like only a matter of time before there's a collision, and that's almost what happens at this intersection. Later, she comes perilously close to slamming into oncoming traffic. Then, the inevitable. The woman takes a turn too wide and hits a minivan. When she heads down this country road, she is followed by 3 patrol cars that finally start to close in on her. She whips into a private driveway and soon discovers there's no way out. She runs out of road, but she's not about to give up. Moments later, she jumps out of the moving vehicle and takes off into the brush. Cops and a canine close in, and within minutes, the fleeing felon is found. Despite the close calls and the collision, no one is injured in the 40-minute pursuit. It turns out the driver doesn't have a gun, but officers were right about their other suspicions. In addition to charges of fleeing from police, she later pleads guilty to 5 bank robberies in Florida and Alabama. Coming up on Disorderly Conduct, an out-of-control trucker becomes a one-man wrecking crew. And 2 teenagers help themselves to church offerings they just can't refuse. You're on the right path to more Disorderly Conduct. Police pursue a driver who was reportedly hurling beer bottles through his sunroof. Little did they know it would turn into a 100-mile chase across Florida. Now he recklessly tries to avoid being blocked by the pursuing patrol cars. The SUV narrowly gets past an oncoming school bus, which almost takes out a patrol car. Now he drives up the wrong side of the road against oncoming traffic. The officer decides it's time for a pit maneuver. The pit works, but the SUV hits a truck that skids into oncoming lanes. The SUV flips, and the patrol car slams into a tree. Other officers are immediately on the scene. The suspect is dragged from the smoking wreckage and cuffed. The good news is that no one is injured, and a very reckless driver is off the road. Now he faces charges including aggravated fleeing and aggravated battery on a law enforcement officer. Somebody has been stealing donations from this Ohio church, so police have set up a secret unmanned camera. It isn't long before the camera records 2 teenage boys breaking into the church's safe. When police show this tape to church members, no one recognizes the duo. So several nights later, cops stake out the scene themselves. The plan quickly pays off. The two caught on tape are now caught in the act. Police suspect they're responsible for stealing at least $1,000 from trusting church members. The boys face burglary charges, and they also have to find a way to pay back the congregation. Police in Grand Prairie, Texas, respond to reports of a trucker gone wild. He's allegedly damaged houses and cars already. Now police are trying to talk him out of the cab. But he throws it in reverse and heads straight for a squad car. And once more, for good measure, the suspect, who is believed to be under the influence of alcohol, pulls forward again. This time, officers fear he may have another target in mind. But the trucker has other ideas, like taking out some more cars. The suspect pulls forward again and positions himself. Now he has cars set up like bowling pins with the police cruiser in front. He heads straight down the middle. It's starting to look like a bad horror movie. The Night of the Truck. The mad trucker strikes again. This time, 4 quick shots ring out. It's the law, but they're not shooting at the driver. They're trying to stop the truck, and they do, firing point blank into the engine compartment. Moments later, they pull the driver from the cab and take him into custody. He is charged with aggravated assault on officers, as well as property damage to 5 cars, 2 houses, and a few trees and street signs. Straight ahead on disorderly conduct, a man with a power tool tries to drill some fleeing suspects. And a nighttime car thief can't shake an infrared camera. We've got the bad guys in our sights on disorderly conduct. Officer Adam Dennison chases a suspect with 2 passengers who allegedly fled a traffic stop in Crescent City, Florida. The officer has no backup as the chase winds its way through backcountry roads. Suddenly, at an intersection, things take a curious turn. A man with a power drill steps into the road and aims at the suspect's car in a feeble attempt to slow it down. Officer Dennison can hardly believe his eyes.
At that time, I actually thought it was pretty humorous. I started laughing.
The suspect has no fear of the power drill and keeps going. But now Officer Dennison is in a real hot spot. He's alone chasing a desperate suspect, and he has no idea what road he's on. That's because the man with the drill, a city employee, has taken down the street sign for repairs. Officer Dennison has no idea what location to give his dispatcher. It looks like the bad guys may win the day.
I figured there was going to be no stopping this guy. He was going to get away one way or another.
But just as the officer gets an order over his radio to call off the chase, the suspect veers off the road and slams into a tree off camera. One man flees the car and is subdued at gunpoint by Officer Dennison. That leaves one man in the back seat and the driver, who makes a fateful decision. The driver slams the car into reverse and heads straight for the officer, who reacts instantly. Dennison pumps 4 shots into the car, shattering the back windshield.
I thought the vehicle was going to run me over, no matter if I shot at the car or what. But I definitely thought the vehicle was going to run me over.
The car is stopped off camera and the men are dragged out. Backup arrives and the third suspect is cuffed. But the passenger who was in the back seat seems to be in a lot of pain. He actually was not hit, and by some stroke of luck, neither was Officer Dennison. The driver was arrested for fleeing and assault. And Officer Dennison will never forget the day he had to drill that car with bullets. He also has some advice for the man who tried to stop it with a drill of his own.
Definitely, especially when a chase is coming through. Definitely not do that, and hopefully next time hold the sign up for me so I know which road I'm on.
You're looking at a police pursuit of a suspected stolen car in Tampa, Florida, through the lens of a helicopter FLIR infrared camera.
Eastbound on Lake, high rate of speed.
At one point, the driver rips through someone's lawn, and officers move in to pit him. But he gets away.
He's backing up now. He's going northbound into the apartments there.
With cops right on his tail, the suspect nearly sideswipes an oncoming car.
If we got anybody with stop sticks, if they're able to deploy him, he's southbound on 30th.
Desperate to get away, the guy really pushes the pedal to the metal. But up ahead, ground units have laid out stop sticks, and the suspect runs right over them. The suspect continues to drive, so officers throw out another set of stop sticks. This seems to do the trick. With his tires damaged, the driver slows down. 2 cruisers move in, so he makes a run for it.
Driver's bailing out. He's running southbound.
It may be night, and the guy might think he's getting away, but the FLIR camera doesn't lose sight of his body heat. And the police in the air are able to tell the officers on the ground exactly where he's going.
Just crossed Lake, southbound past the basketball court, still going south. Just hopped the fence, now he's running back to the west.
The fugitive runs right into the arms of the law and gives up.
All right, officers going 10-15.
The The suspect is looking at charges of grand theft auto, fleeing to elude police, and obstructing an officer without violence. And thanks to the high-tech camera in the sky, he didn't have a chance of getting away. Moments away on disorderly conduct, a pursuit suspect flames out in the end, and an officer has one of those days.
Here you go. Make me a little later to work.
Why do I get these?
It's all next on Disorderly Conduct. Police pursue a van through the streets of South Los Angeles. It all started when officers spotted a cold plate on a hot car. That means the van's license plate doesn't match the vehicle. The driver refuses to stop, and now at least 10 black and whites are in pursuit. This guy quickly makes it obvious that he's not going to let anyone get in his way. Then at the next intersection, the drama rises to a whole new level. The driver barely slows down as he enters this crowded intersection and plows into traffic. But even that doesn't bring this to an end. The man keeps on going, but by now, most other drivers have cleared out of his way. After a few more miles, smoke can be seen when the van blows a tire. Then rubber starts to fly off the rim. Seconds later, he's riding on rims. The friction sets off smoke and flames. It's only a matter of time before he loses all control and spins to a stop. Finally, this danger to society leaves the driver's seat. He's taken into custody and off to jail, where he faces charges of felony evading and hit and run.
Go around front.
Officer Rick Gandy suspects this driver's under the influence.
437, break traffic. I'm in pursuit, 75 north now.
Now he heads towards Atlanta in full pursuit. It's a night that still haunts Officer Gandy.
Hey, got him at 80 mile an hour south on 75, all over the road. Made a U-turn on me, going back northbound 75, and came to a stop.
3 minutes into the chase, it seems to be over. For a moment.
Okay, we're back northbound.
He stops, and he runs. As he dives to grab the suspect, Officer Gandy leaves the patrol car in gear and it runs right over him. The patrolman suffers broken ribs and severe lacerations, but makes a full recovery. And the suspect doesn't go far. Cops catch him and charge him with driving under the influence, speeding, fleeing, attempting to elude police, and driving with no insurance and a suspended license. Welcome to friendly Oklahoma City.
Why are you pulling me over?
Why am I pulling you over, ma'am? Your inspection sticker is expired. Can I see your driver's license, please?
Oh, here you go. Just make me a little later to work.
Okay.
Okay, be advised
Got your insurance in your car? Put the cigarette out, please. Turn the radio down.
Why?
For my safety, please.
You're gonna be in
And let me tell you something, ma'am. You're being recorded, okay? Okay.
The officer is courteous and professional, but this lady needs a lesson from Ms. Manners.
Do you still live at 115 number D?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you had very many or any other tickets in the last 5 years?
You what?
Have you had very many or any
No,
other
I have not.
tickets?
No.
You haven't? Okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
God.
The officer's in for a shock when he calls headquarters with this information.
Ma'am, I'll be right back. Just a few minutes, okay?
Oh, okay.
Wait right there.
Great. Thank you.
Stay where it's warm.
It's going to be quite extensive record. He has approximately 20 to 25 citations, also 4 accidents.
4 accidents and the lady's unaware she's had up to 25 citations? Her mood hasn't improved during the wait, and the level of sarcasm has certainly risen.
Okay, ma'am, here's your license and your insurance
Oh,
back.
thank you so much. And you know what?
Have you got a
What?
phone number, ma'am?
Oh, sure. 752. Are you gonna call and prank call me?
No.
Oh, really? Well, I'm surprised.
Do you have, what's your employer?
That's none of your business.
Yes, it is.
Oh, really? Well, I'm self-employed. I'm a legal assistant.
Okay.
You know, I wonder how it feels giving people tickets for nothing else.
Okay, ma'am, let me explain something to you.
What?
This citation, if you get the inspection updated on or before the court date, they will reduce the fine down from $42 to $19.
Well, I won't have to pay it,
Okay.
period, since I know the city attorney.
Put your signature right there.
Oh, boy, I sure will.
Okay.
No, I wonder
I'll
how
write
it feels.
I'll write the amount of the fine on the back of the citation
thank
for you.
you so much. God, what a job in life.
Have any questions? The number for the court clerk is on the back. Please drive carefully.
The officer's reaction says it all.
Why do I get these?
Sunday.